Hi, Caitlin.
Hi, Deborah.
Introduce yourself.
My name is Caitlin Carnahan, and this is my farm, Diamond Day Bouquet,
And we're in Chimacum, Washington.
in Chimacum, Washington.
Okay, which
Yep.
is Jefferson County?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
great. Well, we'd love a little tour. So
Okay.
good time of year to be here and see you framed by the amaranth.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
This is our amaranth crop.
Oh
We've got
my gosh.
hot biscuits, something sunset from uprising seeds.
Oh wow.
They do beautiful amaranth uprising. But
gorgeous.
yeah,
Gorgeous color.
got the red dye here.
So do you have a regular sort of metric for spacing for the length of your rows? How many plants per row there are, or does it depend on the variety?
It pretty much depends. This here is the only spot that we grow in landscape fabric. The rest of the farm is a 3-foot wide piece of landscape fabric in a 2-foot bed.
Okay.
So that's pretty much everything else, except the shrubs are like a wider spacing.
Yeah.
But and those are all permanent beds. But these ones we rip up and till up every year.
They
Yeah.
take up a lot of space.
Yeah,
don't they?
yeah.
Just beautiful.
Yeah.
So you're harvesting off these right now.
Yes, yeah, we're trying to get as much as we can out before it gets too cold and squishy around here.
Designers want this stuff.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, so it's got some of the hanging.
Are you planting these all from starting from seed, or how do you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Yes, from seed, and we got a little zinnia patch here. And then back here's the, do you want to walk through here? We'll go to
Sure.
the dahlias.
Let's dive in.
Oh, watch it. It's a little, we had a windstorm a couple weeks ago and knocked some of this back. Yeah, it's not too bad, but.
When you said this is the only area with landscape plots, is there a reason for that?
I sort of like having a standard bed, and I don't want everything in plastic,
Okay.
you know. I do a lot of mulching, a lot of straw mulching. I do like having things covered, but I kind of I don't know, I don't really like burning the holes either.
Yeah.
So I have these like standard, these are like 6-foot wide ones.
So it works because of the dimension of the rows that you want, the aisles. between
Yeah,
them.
yeah, I feel like it, like for certain, I like to put the zinnias in them and I like to put the amaranth in it. But most everything else is just a 2-foot wide bed that's mulched with straw.
God, so beautiful.
Oh, thanks.
Do you look at this and think I should be out here cutting right now, and not talking to Deborah?
I mean, we didn't. Yesterday is sort of our big cut day because my husband Greg takes flowers in Monday night, so we didn't get as much cut. But we actually couldn't fit any more in the truck.
Wow.
So, yeah,
Monday night, he goes into Seattle to drop off at the Seattle Wholesale
Yeah,
Market.
yeah.
Wow. And how many times a week are you taking product out into town?
So that's our one drop, and then the truck comes out from the growers market, which is amazing and we love. And so we meet that truck on Thursdays.
Oh, very similar
Yeah.
to free range then.
Oh yeah, yeah,
They take one load in and then they have
a pickup.
pickup.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it's two cuts basically.
Because you can sell more if you have 2 deliveries.
Yeah, yeah, it's great. And I mean, then the timing of just like cutting everything, it works out pretty well too, you know, so.
All right, here's the dahlia extravaganza, the dahlia kingdom. Wow. Have you always had this much of an emphasis on dahlias?
I feel like the patch has grown over the years.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, like it, you know, like the business has grown.
Wow.
I mean, when Diane at Jello Mold stopped doing dahlias, she invited folks to come dig from her patch, which was amazing. And definitely after that, the patch got bigger.
Oh, you mentioned Jello Mold. Didn't you work there as an apprentice originally? Or?
Yeah, well, no, I was her employee for a year, and then I kind of just kept going back for like big projects because I really liked working there. So,
But
yeah.
at the time, you didn't own this property, right?
No,
Okay.
no. Before that, my husband and I had been growing vegetables on Vashon, and had a baby and just like big life change. And so we were just like figuring out where we wanted to be and what we wanted to do. And he wanted to go back to school to become a teacher. And I was like, well, there's this amazing flower farm that maybe I could reach out to and work there while you're in school. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, and so that's sort of how that happened.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, we'll hear more about that when we sit down for the stationary interview, and we can continue on with the farm tour. Sorry, I got you off track.
Oh, that's okay.
The dahlias are so beautiful, and when we just had a little tour with my friend Karen, you mentioned here in this area in Jefferson County, Port Townsend area on the peninsula in Washington, you had a really crummy, wet, cold early spring. And
Yes. Yeah.
that kind of pushed a lot of your emphasis to fall crops.
Yeah, it was just cold and wet and like a lot of just like more fungal issues than I've ever had before. So just like the stuff that wasn't working, I like quickly shift gears and was like, okay, like I'm going to seed like heavier for those beds for fall crops. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
And the dahlias, when do you plant those? May or
Well,
so?
these will be their third year here, so I'm actually digging them this fall after frost.
Okay.
Yeah, so these guys are in the ground, which was great.
How many plants do you think you have, roughly?
I think it's about 3,000.
Okay. Wow.
Well, yeah, something like that, around 3,000. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll keep going. They
Yeah.
look so healthy.
Oh,
The
thanks.
foliage is so healthy. Are you using compost tea or?
I fertigate once a week. We didn't do it this week, but usually.
And what is the term you use?
Fertigate. It's where you just put like a fertilizer through the drip irrigation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, which has made a big difference. They really like it.
And
yeah.
what kind of fertilizer is it?
It's just like a fish, just like a kind of
Natural.
yeah.
And it goes right into the roots then.
Yep. Yeah. No, and it's been great. It's been, because we have super sandy soil, so they definitely want and need that like food.
And then we have one.
Yeah. One red.
That's okay. We like to see it.
Yeah. I know. This was a one we dug because they just weren't looking good last year.
The dahlias.
Yeah, and so it was just this random bed. I'm like, I guess we'll put the Rebecca right here. I always forget it's here.
Well, you could color coordinate when you're harvesting.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's so nice to see all of these hues coming together.
Yeah.
As you
Yeah.
walk through it.
Oh.
I know it's work, but it must be kind of fulfilling part of your morning to come out.
Oh yeah. The mornings are like my faves out. I wish all day was the morning, because it's just like such a nice time to pick and
today the overcast will not
Yeah.
burn off, so
yeah, seems like it's gonna be like this for a while.
yes, it will.
Yeah.
So is this your
Oh yeah. So we're reskinning this, so it's sort of in halfway. But this is where we do, and it's kind of a mess. Oh, and it's locked from the side.
Oh, okay. Don't worry
This
about
is our prop house, and we sneak some tomatoes for the family in there too.
it. Is
But
this the first structure you put on the property?
this was here,
Okay.
and we put up those guys.
All right.
But this thing was here,
Wow.
and this was all just like a pasture. And then this is just our family veg spot. We grow a big pumpkin. We're really excited
More
about
than
it.
one or just one?
Well, I think there might be two in here, but
And your children are how old?
they're 6 and 9.
Okay.
Yeah, they come and like check out the big pumpkin like every day. I mean, it's kind of big.
Oh, it's definitely big.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You named it?
It's Big Moose. That's
Big
the
Moose?
variety.
Okay.
But every year we have a Big Moose party and like adorn the Big Moose and have like a fall.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah.
I love it. That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
Wow.
They really get excited about the pumpkin.
Yeah, so there's some beans.
Yeah, it's just dry beans. We try to just, because we have like a veggie pass, we try to like have some stuff like that around. But the flowers are sort of starting to.
I was
Come
wondering about that. Like,
Yeah.
You've definitely expanded since the time. I think I came before COVID.
Yeah, I know. I wonder if was this out.
I always felt like most everything was in that far field.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
maybe
This is
you
the sort of new. This zone is sort of newer, and that's like this. You can see kind of our janky fence there.
Mm-hmm.
There's another. We have one more push out, and then we can't push out anymore.
So where the dahlias end, there is a fence. People may not be able to see
Yeah.
it, but then you'll push out to the tree line.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the.
Expansion plan.
Yeah, Greg sort of contains me with that fence, and he's like, "Why don't you just like do?" He pushes it out for me, so I have to be like, "Hey, let's
You
push
have
out the
to
fence."
justify it.
Yeah, right.
What do you think you're currently growing on then?
I feel like I've
Acreage-wise.
done the math just with like the bed feet,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's like 1.5 acres. Yeah,
But your total
ish.
property is
The total property is 5,
Oh, wow.
and that's like it hugs some of the woods
okay.
there too. So.
So tell me about these high tunnels then.
Oh yeah, so we try to get early spring annuals, and then follow them up with like some heat loving stuff. This one I don't want to show you this one because there's delphinium in there that's really sad.
Oh, we won't look at it.
Yeah, let's not look in there. But this one is really pretty right
The
now.
purpose of this then is to just kind of cheat the season a little bit.
Yeah,
Okay.
extend. Yeah,
So
totally.
When you had all that wet spring.
Yeah, I mean stuff in here.
Weather, this was fine.
Yeah, it's a nice. It's just more of a controlled environment. It's not getting like dumped rain on or.
But it's valuable real estate.
Yeah,
So
super
you have to
valuable real
decide
estate.
what you're going to
Yeah.
grow in here.
Yeah.
So celosia, lisianthus, and what is this? More amaranth?
This is celosia too. It's
Oh, it
just
is
like,
celosia.
yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah,
see.
it's, oh, the flamingo feather, but it's a
Yes.
purple one.
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
know,
I've seen
I've
that.
never grown it before. It looks beautiful. It just needs
It
to
just
come
needs,
ready.
like, to
Yeah,
wake up.
I know. The foliage I thought was nice. That's what
I love
like.
it.
That's really pretty.
And the lisianthus are beautiful, and they're not going to sustain any, rain damage because they're in here.
Yeah,
Is,
nice.
is this all that you grow?
Oh, the lizzies?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
is it just one variety? Oh, no.
Yeah, it's all the, that Chateau Bleu. Yeah, yeah.
Because you just know that
Well,
is something that people
I hope
want.
so. I don't know. I feel like you get so excited about these things and you're like, I'm going to put in 100 feet. And then you're like, oh, I hope people like that.
Well, I feel like I'm just observing being here that you have a philosophy about getting enough quantity of key color palettes so
Yeah.
that you can fulfill a large event order or wedding order. Is
Yeah.
that sort of the philosophy?
Yeah, I mean, I really, it's like the market feel like it's just been pushing me to be like, if you're going to do it, like do it. I mean, sometimes that nips you in the butt, but yeah, I just like to have enough to be able to offer it to folks,
Right. So with $3,000, you're not trying to have, whatever, 300 varieties. You're trying to
Yeah.
have 30 strong varieties.
Totally.
And go deep in those.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think even next year, I'm actually really excited to dig the patch just to hone in even deeper. I started selling through mass merch at the market and just like to know it's sold and just like these varieties, because they're not all created equal. Like there are some that I get like every single day. I'll get like 10 bunches off of them. And then there's some that's like a couple here and there and they're kind of hard to pick. And
So you're trying to get more efficient about
yeah.
what to sell.
Yeah, I mean, just it's like I pick them almost every day, and it's just a lot of time,
Yeah.
Like you really notice the ones that are like not producing and like hard to cut. So
Can you tell us who's going to get cut?
oh,
Are you still thinking
oh well,
about it?
no, American Dawn. I love it. It's so beautiful, but it's just like makes me mad. So yeah, it's just like too stocky and just like doesn't
Doesn't give you the
do it.
productivity you want.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I've tried out a few this year that like aren't gonna make the cut. I think I'm gonna cut Linda's Baby, and this is just for me. Like I think some of these varieties work better for other people.
Right,
it's just what happens here,
And then
but-
on the other side, what are you like, for sure I'm going to keep and I'm going to plant more?
Yeah. Cornell Bronze. What else? Caitlin's Joy, Brown Sugar. What's that other kind? Blight and Softer Gleam. Like I think all those kinds I'm gonna like double up and just do more for.
They're winners for you.
Yeah, they're just great. Like every time, they're just so many. Martine Deswan, the white water lily, like such an amazing one. What else? Small World, although that's not in a grocery, but the little white palm.
Yeah.
It just like kicks it out. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
So when you talk about the grocery, that's a program through the Seattle Wholesale Growers Market. When you say mass merch, it's going to like the town and country markets.
Yeah.
And any other grocery stores?
I think some other ones
Okay.
too. Yeah.
And that is a 5-stem grower sponge?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we saw those at Free Range too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
those are, it's a different pricing structure for
Yeah,
those,
it's
right?
a little less, but it's nice because it's just it's going. Like I feel like last year, like people get really excited on the market floor, like right when the dahlias come out. But I think like just as more come in and people get used to them, like there was just a lot more shrink than I was like comfortable with last year. So just trying to like manage that crop better.
Right. So knowing that you can be in both selling to wedding and event designers on the for pre-orders.
Yeah, yeah.
But also have a quantity going straight to grocery, guaranteed purchase, even though it's a little bit lower margins. You're like,
It's just there.
I'd rather have them out in the marketplace.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I definitely like. It's really important to me. Like, there's still some varieties in there, like Rose Toscano, or like there's some varieties in there that I like. I just love because they're so beautiful and they're good producers, that like are not so much a grocery dahlia, but I like know designers really like. So I'm definitely keeping those ones that are good producers and just more of like a petite, like designery type.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, let's look at your woodies, which I feel like is
Oh,
the
yeah.
last
Yeah, yeah.
main section. maybe not there's 2 sections coming up here, right?
Yeah, so it's perennials here, and then the shrubs are sort of at the end.
So
well, I squeezed in some zinnias here too.
well, there's exceptions.
Yeah,
right?
sometimes I move stuff and I don't have new things to put in, so there's some more zinnias here.
When we pulled up, you had just harvested some of the Japanese anemones. So you have the white and the pink.
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Such a reliable crop to have as a perennial.
I just love it. I love them so much. And they just kind of come at a time when you're sort of getting bored of things, and yeah, they're so beautiful.
The pink at the far end?
Yeah, the pink are at the end.
Which would you, can you show us like what stage you'd harvest this at?
Yeah, I was really like strict about getting them every day in the morning at this. But then I cut some, I mean, not this one's passed, but I was starting to cut some that were more open and just watching them. And I don't think the spec book says like which stage. And they kept just fine open.
Okay.
So but you don't want any brown on them or anything, you know, obviously, but yeah, so I was.
This has so many buds on it.
Yeah, yeah.
And even that partially open one, that's a good stage to cut. And
yeah.
then they'll continue to open.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I just feel like that. I mean, that's what everybody wants. That beautiful, just on the way thing.
Yeah.
You know.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
if one is open, that's okay too.
Yeah, I think just not so. Like you also like just can look on the, you know, like. Yeah. You can see sort of the petals just like old, you know.
Yeah, if it's this one looks like it had broken off. Too.
Yeah, yeah. I probably just dead it.
Yeah.
I didn't get to these yesterday, so I did dead any.
So mostly perennials, some annuals. And
yes.
Then on this side.
Oh yeah, and then this is all annuals, and some the crest didn't work, but yeah, some shorty zinnias, snaps.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, it's so impressive. Oh, and is that Nicotiana?
Yeah, this one I'm trying out. For the first time. I'm really excited about it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I think designers really want this, but it's just hard to get in quantity.
Yeah.
What
yeah.
Are you doing just mixed varieties?
Well, this kind is it's called like it's like watercolor something.
Oh, like a mix?
Yeah, and so it sort of has this like kind of these ones.
Pastel-y.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, which I really like. They get they're so delicate. I feel like that might be why it's hard to come by, because it's just hard to cut them and not mess them up.
Right.
But
they certainly won't ship.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're really a garden flower that gardeners have known are special in arrangements.
They're so beautiful.
Now the florists want them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So is it similar to the Japanese anemone, where maybe one?
Yeah, I usually go for like 1 or 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like this one, I should have picked this yesterday and I didn't get to it. Like I would, and you can kind of just add one, you know.
That's why I do the ones in my garden.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And this one, I like this one. I'm a little on the fence because it's so delicate, but this one I'm really excited about. I think it's called Tinkerbell.
Oh,
And they're just like so cute, so cute. And they do seem to be sturdier, like they're not quite as delicate. So
Tinkerbell,
yeah.
I see that they have a lot of dimension because the flowers are facing off in every direction.
Yeah, and they got that just like lovely lime thing.
Right.
Yeah, and just like the petals are sort of a little more scalloped. I just think that's so pretty.
It's like a little star.
Yeah.
Good. So this is Tinkerbell?
Yeah, Tinkerbell.
Perfectly named.
Yeah, I know. So cute.
And then we're getting over to, I guess.
Yeah, so this is where I took out some perennials and put in some annuals. This was like some of the fall panic stuff. But yeah, perennials. And then shrubs up here. There's some hydrangea. I'm trying to do some iris.
I think I actually bought some of your iris at the growers market this year.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, trying to figure that one out.
So when the perennials and woodies, like these are sort of your investment in the future, because
yeah.
You're not having to sow the seeds. You're not having to dig or anything,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
I guess you dig and divide the perennials.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm super attracted to the perennial. I mean, like coming from like a veggie, like strictly annual past. I mean, I will always love to start a seed, but like I feel like just the vast world of like perennials and shrubs is just like blows my mind, and that's what I get really like, excited about. So,
love
and
it.
just like learning so much from Diane too,
Yeah.
you know, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see the thread.
yeah.
I want to just comment on the hydrangea for a second. I thought that these were limelight. You said they're a different variety.
Well, they're little lime.
Little lime. So they're
Yeah.
shorter.
They're
more
shorter
compact.
and like a smaller head. Yeah.
And the stem is still long enough for
Yeah. Yeah. I
wedding
cut
or
them. I mean, you
event.
see them where I cut them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that you were explaining to me that when I asked you what stage you harvest at, you said, well, it's just covered in Floral Standards, the new guide that
Yes.
the Seattle Wholesale Growers Market is producing. And this was touched on that you like to get, like these little tiny buds, you want to see them all open.
Yeah. Yeah. It says the way it describes it is like the bud break.
Okay.
And so, like at the top. So, the way I understand that, it's just like these top little guys.
So
are
you,
like,
you
so that one
wouldn't,
would be
you'd
ready.
wait a little bit.
I think this one will be ready, but
Okay.
maybe not this one.
I see.
You know?
Yeah. Right.
But-
or this one probably.
Yeah. This one, like this one is
Oh,
great.
yes.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Love it. You're just always learning and always experimenting.
Yeah.
Is this your Hancock Snowberry?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been cutting tons out of here. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
As foliage.
Yes, as foliage.
And then your
The raspberry, yeah, I put that in right when we got here, and just because the market already has so many, we just eat the berry. We don't really cut it. We just eat the berry.
Do you use because you're doing some bouquets for the local grocery store, would you use them in the...
I actually don't do bouquets
Oh,
in
you
it.
just do
Yeah,
straight
just
bunches.
straight cuts for everything. Yep. I know. Yeah. Yeah.
That's saving hours out of your life.
Yeah. I feel like I had to kind of hone in on the time that things take.
If you were going to describe Diamond Day Bouquet, how are you describing the farm?
Like if people are like, "What's your farm?" I feel like I say like I sell wholesale, and I do about like a third. So all wholesale, all straight bunches, about a third dahlias, a third annuals, and a third perennials and shrubs. That's sort of my spiel.
Yeah. And you're sustainable. I know you're salmon safe.
Yeah.
Are you trying to use organic practices?
Yeah, definitely. We're not certified or anything, but like we have a deep like connection here to like this place and feel that we're like stewards and want to like take care of it, for sure.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, let's go sit down and talk a little bit
Okay.
more. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
It's
thank
so
you.
fun. So, well, Caitlin Carnahan, thank you so much for the tour.
Yes, my pleasure.
It was just fabulous.
Yeah.
Second time I've been here, and my good friends live up the street, and you're on a very distinct road.
Yes, Egg and I.
What is the story with Egg and I?
A woman wrote this book in the 20s. I think I want to say Kathy McDonald. I think
Yes,
that's
I
right.
think you're right,
Yeah. I should know because I'm on the street.
And wasn't there like a TV show, film, or a movie or something?
There might
Okay.
be a movie.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think she wrote it in the 20s, and it was just about like moving to the country to a chicken farm and living the dream.
And now you live on Egg and I Road,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
have chickens, right?
Yeah, we do have chicken.
I think it's one of those things that our parents probably grew up with this story and know about. My mother knew about the movie or TV show that was built off of this book. I don't remember any of that.
I
so.
don't either. Yeah, a friend gave me the book, but I still
Okay.
haven't read it yet. Yeah.
So you're here on this beautiful property. You said you have 5 acres.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When did you move here, and how did Diamond Day Bouquet get started?
So we moved to this property 6 years ago, the day after my son was born.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
Congratulations!
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my
So that
goodness.
was like a big time.
Nothing easy about that.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. But we actually started the farm, like the flower farm, was it a year before at my sister's property. That's
that's
how we
right.
got to this area. Was my sister lives here. So I started it just on a super small little plot, like 100 by 50, I think. And
While you were pregnant, basically.
yeah, with
Wow.
a toddler.
Because
Yeah.
women can do things like that.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So I did that and was just doing like super mellow, like farmers market, like not anything crazy, and selling to the local food co-op here, which they've been really great to me. And then just over the years, like the next year when we bought this property, we just spent some time just like tilling it up and cover cropping it for one season. So I was 2 seasons there. And then just slowly kind of chunking out like a little bigger every year and joining the growers market, which was like a huge like step up for the business. And yeah.
When you were hunting for your forever farm, I don't know if this is going to be your forever farm or not, but
I hope so.
was your criteria like some acreage, a house that was fairly livable? That,
Yeah.
Did you have to do a lot of renovation or?
Yeah, that was the hope.
Okay.
Yeah, and we were like keeping an eye out for a long time, but we wanted, you know, at least a few acres of just like open
And
land.
this is open.
Yeah,
And you didn't really
yeah.
clear much,
No,
right?
we haven't. We're taking down a few trees in the back there by the greenhouse, but nothing crazy. Yeah, this was all just like pasture.
And
so.
it's not super, it's not perfectly level, but it's fairly level.
Yeah,
right?
it's a little slow. It slopes like, what is that way? East.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Southeast.
Before this, though, you said that and what's your husband's name?
Greg.
Greg. You
Yeah.
and Greg were vegetable farmers?
Yeah. Yeah.
this-
Well, actually, on Vashon.
Oh, on Vashon. I'm
yeah.
sorry, you said
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, so Vashon Island, did you do that as your, like a side hustle, or were you?
That was our jobs. I mean,
Really?
I worked, well, that's how I met Diana. I used to paint sets in Seattle. So I did that in the winter time. And then Greg did work. I mean, we still like did other work in the winter.
Yeah,
but
your off-season
yeah,
work.
we had off season work, but we like a good friend of ours we had been working on farms sort of all over the place for like a couple years, and a friend of ours who we had known from Seattle had landed a property there that he was leasing and invited us to come farm with him. So we
Wow.
did that for 5 years.
But veggies.
Just veggies, and I was sort of like tickling in the flowers on the side, as
How
as we all do.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you really were, you'd been kind of trained and self-trained and were a practitioner in the food growing.
Mm-hmm.
How did you kind of pivot to flowers? And you mentioned earlier when we were on the tour that Greg wanted to go back to school, and so you thought that you'd use that time to go work on a flower farm. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just it was something that like was always just I was always really excited about. I mean, like I would do like we'd work a full like veggie farm day, and then I'd go like cut flowers in the like 11th hour and like make bouquets for the farmers market the next day. You know, like it was always just this thing that I'm like, I just want to do this.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. You were drawn to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not to trash veggie farming, but it just wasn't quite as soulful of a.
Yeah, it just
you fed
felt-
yourself, obviously.
Yeah, and like I have so much like I just have such a deep love and respect for those people, you know, but it just didn't feel like it was like my lane, you know. I felt like just the creativity that's behind all of this just really like spoke to me, and just the visual part of it. And I mean, I feel like just to look at what you're growing and just to be, is this beautiful or not, and to have that be part of like your daily question, I just feel so lucky to have that in my life, you know. And I think veggie farmers do it in their own way, but
Sure.
yeah.
But I love that daily question. Like, I'm being fed by these flowers.
Yeah.
And you know what the answer is.
Yeah,
right?
totally. Yeah.
But still, when you started farming at your sister's, it was kind of like putting your toe in the water. Because you had a toddler and you were pregnant. Like, you couldn't really do this all in.
Yeah, yeah.
And how has the journey been to get to this point where you have yourself plus 2 part-time employees? Did it help that the kids went off to school and that, I mean, they're here all summer long though, right?
Yeah, well, Greg's a teacher though, so
Do they go to
that's
school
our
with
magic
him?
thing. Well, no, but that like he is managing them in the summer. Or
Oh, I
he's
see.
like camp dad.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Camp Oh, so that is
Yeah.
a great
It's
family
great.
model then.
Yeah, it's really sweet.
wow.
Yeah, that they get that. And I mean, I think, you know, who knows how long they're gonna want to hang out with him, but right now they do, and it's pretty sweet.
Oh my
So,
gosh,
yeah.
that's great.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
other couples who farm together are like, oh, yeah, we're both all in, but you do have the childcare issue, and
Yeah, and that's
And-
like a really big part of it. You know, I feel like I feel like in our culture we just like the kids like aren't a piece of the pie when we're like talking about people's lives, and like they
like,
are.
how do you do this?
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And I
Yeah.
think especially for women, like that's something that we're just expected to like either talk about or not talk about, or embrace or not. And I just feel like I have children and I love them and they're a part of my life, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a part of just how we make things work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you have a good model that works for the family, because when Greg goes back to teach, pretty much your kids are in school, but you're
Yeah.
still farming now for another 6 weeks probably.
Yeah, it's always the spring and the fall are always kind of crazy for us,
Yeah.
just because there is a lot of like, okay, gotta get the kids, okay, gotta take them to soccer or whatever. So
Yeah.
there's like the shuffle becomes
Yeah.
extreme.
Yeah.
But we figure it out. My mom lives in town, so she is like amazing help and amazing grandma.
So Caitlin, you knew Diane and Dennis from Jello Mold. You have worked at Jello Mold Farm.
Yes,
Past
yeah.
guests of this podcast, of course, big friends from Seattle Wholesale Growers Market. At some point, obviously they were mentors to you. You knew about the market. Had you always thought maybe I'll sell there someday? Because it's kind of a leap.
Yeah, it was a leap. And I was doing the farmers market, and I tried a bunch of different things. Like I did a CSA and was trying to just do more direct marketing. But I just, like, what it really came down to is, like, I just want to grow things. Like, that's the part of this that is, like, the part that I really love. And I feel like all the other things that I was doing was just, like, to try to make it work so I could do that part.
Hey, that is another question you asked yourself. Am I happy
Yeah.
making bouquets? Am I happy going to the
Right.
farmer's market?
Right.
Which everybody has to try.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that you were so honest with yourself to say, I just want to grow.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
Okay, so then a co-op
piece.
works
then,
for you then.
Right. I mean, and it was just like, it was just this obvious and amazing opportunity to just be like, oh, here's this like incredible place that's like within reach that is like exactly for that. I mean, it was really lucky, and in a lot of ways.
When you joined the market as a grower, I remember hearing that you were doing that and hearing that where you were located and thinking, oh, I wonder if the ferry, because you have to bring the
Yeah.
flowers across on a ferry, is that an added impediment? Or how do you, I mean, you talked about only taking one delivery in now, but in the early days,
Yeah.
you were taking everything in every week. You
Yeah.
were Greg, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in the early day, and I know like lots of people still do this, but it was like getting up at 3 and like bringing it in and coming back and then taking the kids to school and then coming
starting
back
your
and
day.
then cutting flowers. It was like not sustainable. But I mean, I know that there are growers who are still doing that, so
Yeah.
I don't want to, but that was not sustainable for me.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, it was a leap, I guess. I don't know what else to say, but
But once you went through your first season and you saw the response to your flowers and you knew
yeah.
this was a great channel for your flowers financially.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
No,
just
I mean, I feel like before, and it's just, it has to do with like where you're at. I think, people's willingness or excitedness
Yeah.
to buy
Yeah.
flowers, and I feel like folks would come to the farmer's market and like be excited to see it, but no one was like, and sometimes they would sell and it was a good day, but like the days they didn't, it was just like so sad.
And you're bringing product home with you.
Yeah, just like, and that's just like a Saturday away from my kids on, like 2 days really, because it's like putting everything together, So I just felt
point.
like that hustle was just not, just not for me,
Yeah.
and I feel like the higher end, I feel like folks around here have succeeded in that, just like going more like wedding work and doing like kind of like a more higher end sort of appeal.
But that requires you being a designer. And
Yeah.
you're not so necessarily, you can do it, but you.
Yeah, it's just it's not really my flavor, like,
Yeah.
I feel like my background as a grower, like that's my skill.
That's what.
Yeah. And I
that's
just
what
felt
you get
like
excited
kind
about.
of, I tried to turn that way and it just didn't feel right,
I am curious about your path to flowers. When you said you were painting sets and you met Diane and Dennis painting sets, was that at like a musical environment?
Well,
or-
no, it was a woman I used to work with, like knew I was veggie farming in the summer, and she was like, "You got to meet Diane and Dennis."
Okay, because
and
they're growers too.
yeah, and they're flower growers, and I was like, "Oh, interesting." At like that time, it wasn't like, and then actually, how I went to a grower school.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
Diane did a grower school
Yes.
at her place, and so that was the first time I met them, and like super passing, and
Because you were just kind of in your exploration.
yeah, it was still
information
veggie
gathering.
farming, and they were doing like this cool weekend thing, and I was like, oh, that sounds great, and I went with a buddy, and it was amazing, and Diane, of course, was just like, you know, just
Yeah.
like colorful and explosive and rad. And their farm, I mean, I just fell in love with their farm. You know, it's just like so beautiful. It just
How can
all
you
of it just
not?
clicked. I was like, I love all of
I
this.
want this.
Yeah, totally. So
I wonder how many people are out there like you.
I know.
been
Just look at it
inspired.
and are like, oh my God. I mean, it's a really special place.
The reason I asked is like, do you have an art background or?
Oh yeah. So yeah, my mom is a really amazing artist, and I sort of was always just like an art kid growing up. And sort of like played around with like fine arts in college. I studied English literature, which has been really useful.
Why aren't you writing more?
Yeah.
Can you write a story for Slow Flowers Journal?
Oh my God, no. My Flora could, my daughter could. So yeah, it was always something I was interested in, you know, just like fine arts
Yeah.
and then
Creativity.
yeah.
You had that kind of language in your life.
Yeah,
I
totally.
love it.
Yeah, and I was also very interested in theater and just loved like the theater scene in Seattle. It's just like super cool. And so just got into doing that like after college as like my work, and then I met Greg and we wanted to live the dream, and so we just like went off and started working on farms.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, it's really interesting to see where people settle because
Yeah.
the farming universe, at least in flower farming, is sort of in a 90-mile radius in every direction from Seattle now because
Yeah.
there's people, you know, farther south, farther north, now west of the peninsula. Do you feel like you're kind of one of the first people to go hardcore in the Jefferson County area? Because I know other parts of Kitsap Peninsula have flower farmers as well.
Yeah. I mean, there's some folks out here doing it for sure.
Okay.
You know, yeah, and I think they're like more focused on like more local stuff, or like I think because a lot of people come out here to get married.
Yes.
You know, like it's a destination for
I see.
for sure. So I think there are people making it work in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in terms of your model, you know that this works for you.
Yeah.
You've hinted at expanding, so you have land, you have, you know, future fields.
Yeah.
Would you add different crops, or would you just do more of what you know is selling well?
Yeah, I think I would try that. I mean, I'm super interested in putting in more shrubs, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like it just makes so much sense.
Yeah, it's like an investment in your future.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
better plant them soon, right?
I know. Yeah.
You know, in 10 years, you'll be thanking yourself.
I know, totally. It's like best time to plant a tree was yesterday. Is that what they say?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm excited about it. I feel like when I first got here, I was just like, put it in. And I'm kind of chilled out about that now more. And I feel like I really want to have a like very good vibe of what it is I'm putting in. You know, I
Yeah.
feel like I've been a little cocky about that in the past, and like some stuff hasn't worked out, and I was like, ooh, you know.
So instead of just thinking, well, how hard can it be? I can plant this and grow.
Yeah, yeah.
Doing a little, maybe like a trial season to see if it.
Yeah,
if
just
it
being a
works.
little more like I in on
Yeah.
it, you know. And I definitely, we're trying to work with the market to like be like, what does the market need? Like that's what I'll put in, you know.
Right. I mean,
so,
why not? That's
yeah.
your sales channel.
Totally. Yeah.
And I do think there's something, and Diane and Vivian and I have talked about this before, other people at the Seattle Growers Market. There is a type of personality that wants to be in community
Yeah.
and wants
yeah.
to kind of come together for the greater good. It's not for everybody,
Yeah.
but why do you think that cooperative, collective
I just
world works
I
for
love
you?
the market. I mean, I love nerding out about this stuff with people who are excited about it too. And I mean, like I have 2 employees, but like I'm often cutting by myself, and it's kind of like a lonesome place.
it
And I'm
is.
like a social person, and so yeah, and there's so many growers that I just admire so much there and just have learned so much from, and so yeah, I just love that community.
Yeah, they're not your competition. They're your
Yeah,
partners. They're your business partners.
I mean, I just feel like any one of those people you'd be like, what's that variety? And they're like, it's this. And it's like, it's okay, you know, which is rad. Yeah.
Maybe there's a little hint of that theater community
Yeah.
affection that you're feeling
Yeah, right. It's like we're all working together to like put on the show, you know?
too. The floral show.
Yeah, yeah.
Caitlin, how do you, I know the season's coming to an end in less than 2 months. I'm assuming we're here on September 17th. So by November 17th, I'm kind of guessing you'll have had a frost.
Yeah, yeah.
What are you able to have some downtime in the winter? Be with your kids more, or do you do a
Yeah.
lot of planning?
Yeah, it's definitely like a shift to part-time. I mean, like I end up kind of working all winter just like dividing dahlias, and like I try to get as much of the perennials and shrubs just like tucked in, like I amend them and like clean them up and remulch them. So I mean, it's definitely not like the summer speed, but like I try to chip away at it just so the spring isn't feel insane. So yeah, a lot of that work and a lot of planning, and yeah, and then just my, you know, for our family, I kind of shift more to just like the shuffler.
Yeah.
You know.
And then when will you start sowing for 2025 in your are you call those high tunnels, or do you call them
those guys,
the covered hoops? Or
yeah, I like greenhouse hoops. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm buying some plugs sort of for the first time. That will be planted at the end of this month.
Oh,
yeah, for in there. And then I'll start. So I mean, in November I have seeding in November. Like, so it's just sort of like keeps going.
It's not like you take December off and then
yeah.
Start up again February 1st.
Yeah,
it's like
it's sort of. I mean, and
now.
it's not like fast, but it's sort of just like a easy, slow, keep going.
What are you buying plugs of?
I got some feverfew, which I just love, and is such an awesome spring crop. I got some. Oh, what else did I get? Some foxglove, some
things you want to have early.
Yeah, it's just early stuff.
Great.
It was sort of my treat to myself because I feel like starting seed this time of year is really hard for me. So I was just like, I'm just going to buy them this year. So,
make a little investment in
yeah,
that.
yeah, right. Yeah. And I think it's going to pay off just to have like exactly the right amount of plants and like looking healthy and good and just like putting them in there. So that's, yeah, I'm excited about that.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so anything else you want to mention that I didn't ask you about?
I don't think so.
I want to just mention that you can buy Diamond Day Bouquet, beautiful bunches, straight bunches, no mixed bouquets, at the local grocery store as well.
Yep.
It's called the Corner Store?
The Corner Store is just right down the street, and then the food co-op in Port Townsend.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you also sell DIY buckets from the farm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that seems like a way to connect with your local community.
Yeah.
Probably the people who used to buy at the farmer's market and wondered what happened to you.
Yeah.
Or CSA.
Yeah. Or just people are like, I'm doing this thing, you know. Like,
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I hope I'm going to maybe convince you to sell me a few bunches to take home with me, because if otherwise I'll get them at the market later this week.
Yeah, no, that's sweet. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Deborah.
Oh my gosh, I'm glad I got to come out and spend another day with you. And,
yes.
We will share the video and the tour and all of Caitlin's places. I guess I didn't ask you about Diamond Day. How did that name come about?
Oh, it's named after a folk song.
Oh, okay.
By Vashti Bunyan. I don't know if you know. It's just like a super sweet song.
Called Diamond Day.
It's called Diamond Day,
oh,
and it's just about life on a. It's just this really small, or short, sweet song about just like life on a farm.
Okay, well, we probably don't have the rights to play that music.
Yeah.
But
I don't have the rights to call my farm that name either. Just like Jella Mald.
Well, I wonder if song titles are like book titles, which you can't copyright.
Yeah.
But I will try to find it and link to it on YouTube,
cute.
because then people can hear it and hear the lyrics.
Yeah.
I love it. I should have asked you that at the very beginning.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah. It's so funny. I don't even think about it anymore. I'm like, oh yeah, that's kind of like, it's referencing
It sounds like your spirit.
Oh, that's sweet.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you, Deborah.